Rabindranath Tagore. Birth date: 7 May 1861. Date of death: 7 August 1941. Other names: Tagore, Banu Singh Thakur, and also known by his sobriquets Gurudev, Kabi Guru, and Biswakabi, was a polymath, poet, musician, and artist from the Indian subcontinent. He reshaped Bengali literature and music, as well as Indian art with contextual modernism in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Author of the profoundly sensitive, fresh, and beautiful verse of Gitanjali, he became in 1913 the first non-European to win the Nobel Prize in Literature. Tagore's poetic songs were viewed as spiritual and mercurial. However, his elegant prose and magical poetry remain largely unknown outside Bengal. He is sometimes referred to as the Bard of Bengal. A Brahmo Hindu from Calcutta with ancestral gentry roots in Burdwan district and Jessore, Tagore wrote poetry as an 8-year-old. By 1877, he graduated to his first short stories and dramas, published under his real name. As a humanist, universalist, internationalist, and ardent anti-nationalist, he denounced the British Raj and advocated independence from Britain. As an exponent of the Bengal Renaissance, he advanced a vast canon that comprised paintings, sketches, and doodles, hundreds of texts, and some 2,000 songs. His legacy also endures in the institution he founded, Visvabharati University. Tagore modernized Bengali art by spurning rigid classical forms and resisting linguistic strictures. His novels, stories, songs, dance dramas, and essays spoke to topics political and personal. Gitanjali, Gora, and Garber are his best-known works, and his verse, short stories, and novels were acclaimed or panned for their lyricism, colloquialism, naturalism, and unnatural contemplation. His compositions were chosen by 2 nations as national anthems, India's Jana Gana Mana and Bangladesh's Amar Shanar Bangla. The Sri Lankan national anthem was inspired by his work. Quotes Rabindranath Tagore: "O woman, you are not merely the handiwork of God, but also of men are these are ever endowing you with beauty from their own hearts, so you are one half woman and one half dream. Man goes into the noisy crowd to drown his own clamor of silence. It is very simple to be happy, but it is very difficult to be simple. Clouds come floating into my life from other days, no longer to shed rain or usher storm, but to give color to my sunset sky. Faith is the bird that feels the light and sings when the dawn is still dark. When you came, you cried, and everybody smiled with joy. When you go, smile and let the world cry for you. In love, all the contradictions of existence merge themselves and are lost. Only in love are unity and duality not at variance. Compulsion is not indeed the final appeal to man, but joy is. And joy is everywhere. Patriotism cannot be our final spiritual shelter. My refuge is humanity. I will not buy glass for the price of diamonds, and I will never allow patriotism to triumph over humanity as long as I live. Want of love is a degree of callousness, for love is the perfection of consciousness. If you cry because the sun has gone out of your life, your tears will prevent you from seeing the stars. If you shed tears when you miss the sun, you also miss the stars. Men are cruel, but man is kind. You can't cross the sea merely by standing and staring at the water. Your idol is shattered in the dust to prove that God's dust is greater than your idol. Let me not pray to be sheltered from dangers, but to be fearless in facing them. Let me not beg for the stilling of my pain, but for the heart to conquer it. I slept and dreamt that life was joy. I awoke and saw that life was service. I acted and behold, service is joy. O great beyond, O the keen call of thy flute. I ever forget, that I have no wings to fly, that I am bound in this spot evermore. Open your doors and look abroad. Thus great suffering brings with it the power of great endurance. Our heart ever changes its place, still it finds love, and then it has its rest. But this rest itself is an intense form of activity where utter quiescence and unceasing energy meet at the same point in love, where words come out from the depth of truth. We do not stray out of all words into the ever silent. In the joy of your heart may you feel the living joy that sang one spring morning, sending its glad voice across 100 years. Bigotry tries to keep truth safe in its hand with a grip that kills it. It is the constant harmony of chance and determination which makes it eternally new and living. The infinite being has assumed unto himself the mystery of finitude. And in him who is love, the finite and the infinite are made one. Where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever-widening thought and action into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. Man is not entirely an animal. He aspires to a spiritual vision, which is the vision of the whole truth. This gives him the highest delight, because it reveals to him the deepest harmony that exists between him and his surroundings. For thou dwellst in me, and I in thee. Thou without me or I without thee are nothing. Our passions and desires are unruly, but our character subdues these elements into a harmonious whole. The meaning of the living words that come out of the experiences of great hearts can never be exhausted by any one system of logical interpretation. They have to be endlessly explained by the commentaries of individual lives, and they gain an added mystery in each new revelation. That side of our existence whose direction is towards the infinite seeks not wealth, but freedom and joy. If our relation with the divine were all a thing of our own making, how should we rely on it as true, and how should it lend us support? Yes, we must know that within us we have that where space and time cease to rule, and where the links of evolution are merged in unity. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free. Though the West has accepted as its teacher him who boldly proclaimed his oneness with his Father, and who exhorted his followers to be perfect as God, it has never been reconciled to this idea of our unity with the infinite being. We at once feel that cruelty to him is cruelty to ourselves. To make him small is stealing from our own humanity. Civilization can never sustain itself upon cannibalism of any form. For that by which alone man is true can only be nourished by love and justice. In the region of nature, which is the region of diversity, we grow by acquisition. In the spiritual world, which is the region of unity, we grow by losing ourselves, by uniting. In its efforts to clasp in its own arms that which is for all, it hurts others and is hurt in its turn, and cries, "Lead me across." But as soon as it is able to say, "All my work is thine," everything remains the same, only it is taken across. Of course, man is useful to man, because his body is a marvelous machine, and his mind an organ of wonderful efficiency. But he is a spirit as well, and this spirit is truly known only by love. This eye of mine toils hard, day and night, for a home which it knows as its own. Alas, there will be no end of its suffering so long as it is not able to call this home thine. In love, at one of its poles you find the personal, and at the other the impersonal. At one you have the positive assertion, here I am. At the other the equally strong denial, I am not. The human soul is on its journey from the law to love, from discipline to liberation, from the moral plane to the spiritual. We never can have a true view of man unless we have a love for him. Civilization must be judged and prized, not by the amount of power it has developed, but by how much it has evolved and given expression to, by its laws and institutions, the love of humanity. It exists to show that the bonds of law can only be explained by love. They are like body and soul. Joy is the realization of the truth of oneness, the oneness of our soul with the world and of the world's soul with the supreme lover. The butterfly counts not months but moments and has time enough. Love's gift cannot be given, it waits to be accepted. Reach high, for stars lie hidden in you. Dream deep, for every dream precedes the goal. I seem to have loved you in numberless forms, numberless times, in life after life, in age after age, forever. The small wisdom is like water in a glass, clear, transparent, pure. The great wisdom is like the water in the sea, dark, mysterious, impenetrable. Don't limit a child to your own learning, for she was born in another time. Death is not extinguishing the light. It is only putting out the lamp because the dawn has come. A mind all logic is like an eye full blade. It makes the hand bleed that uses it. Let your life lightly dance on the edges of time like dew on the tip of a leaf. Most people believe the mind to be a mirror, more or less accurately reflecting the world outside them, not realizing, on the contrary, that the mind is itself the principal element of creation. By plucking her petals, you do not gather the beauty of the flower. You smiled and talked to me of nothing, and I felt that for this I had been waiting long. Love is an endless mystery, because there is no reasonable cause that could explain it. We read the world wrong and say that it deceives us. Music fills the infinite between two souls. If I can't make it through one door, I'll go through another door, or I'll make a door. Something terrific will come no matter how dark the present. The biggest changes in a woman's nature are brought by love. In man, by ambition. I have spent many days stringing and unstringing my instrument while the song I came to sing remains unsung. Let my thoughts come to you when I am gone, like the afterglow of sunset at the margin of starry silence. We live in this world when we love it. Everything comes to us that belongs to us if we create the capacity to receive it. Every child comes with the message that God is not yet discouraged of man. You are the big drop of dew under the lotus leaf. I am the smaller one on its upper side, said the dewdrop to the lake. The stars are not afraid to appear like fireflies. The real friendship is like fluorescence. It shines better when everything has darkened. The highest education is that which does not merely give us information, but makes our life in harmony with all existence. Trees are the earth's endless effort to speak to the listening heaven. We cross infinity with every step. We meet eternity in every second. Power said to the world, "You are mine." The world kept it prisoner on her throne. Love said to the world, I am thine. The world gave it the freedom of her house. Once we dreamt that we were strangers. We wake up to find that we were dear to each other. The song I came to sing remains unsung to this day. I have spent my days in stringing and in unstringing my instrument. The time has not come true. The words have not been rightly set. Only there is the agony of wishing in my heart. My dearest life, I know you are not mine forever, but do love me even if it's for this moment. After that I shall vanish into the forest where you cast me. I won't ask anyone for anything again. Give me something that can last me till I die. The water in a vessel is sparkling. The water in the sea is dark. The small truth has words that are clear. The great truth has great silence. The roots below the earth claim no rewards for making the branches fruitful. Age considers, youth ventures. Beauty is simply reality seen with the eyes of love. God waits to win back his own flowers as gifts from man's hands. The young student sits with his head bent over his books, and his mind straying in youth's dreamland, where prose is prowling on the desk and poetry hiding in the heart. My day is done, and I am like a boat drawn on the beach, listening to the dance music of the tide in the evening. The traveler has to knock at every alien door to come to his own, and one has to wander through all the outer worlds to reach the innermost shrine at the end. Deliverance is not for me in renunciation. I feel the embrace of freedom and 1,000 bonds of delight. Depth of friendship does not depend on length of acquaintance. Death belongs to life as birth does. The walk is in the raising of the foot as in the laying of it down. Only in love are unity and duality, not in conflict. Perhaps the crescent moon smiles in doubt at being told that it is a fragment awaiting perfection. Stray birds of summer come to my window to sing and fly away. And yellow leaves of autumn, which have no songs, flutter and fall there with a sigh. I will sit in the pupil of your eyes, and that will carry your sight into the heart of the things. Not hammer strokes, but dance of the water, sings the pebbles into perfection. When I stand before thee at the day's end, thou shalt see my scars, and know that I had my wounds and also my healing. The greed for fruit miss is the flower. Nirvana is not the blowing out of the candle. It is the extinguishing of the flame, because day is come. Inspiration follows aspiration. Great calm, generous detachment, selfless love, disinterested effort, to these are what make for success in life. If you can find peace in yourself and can spread comfort around you, you will be happier than an empress. In art, man reveals himself and not his objects. Let me light my lamp, says the star, and never debate if it will help to remove the darkness. O my only friend, my best beloved, the gates are open in my house, do not pass by like a dream. For we women are not only the deities of the household fire, but the flame of the soul itself. He who is too busy doing good finds no time to be good. Come, O come, ye tea thirsty restless ones, the kettle boils, bubbles and sings musically. Someday I shall sing to thee in the sunrise of some other world. I have seen thee before in the light of the earth, in the love of man. These paper boats of mine are meant to dance on the ripples of ours, and not reach any destination. And because I love this life, I know I shall love death as well. The child cries out when from the right breast the mother takes it away, in the very next moment to find in the left one its consolation. Alas, why are my nights all thus lost? Why do I ever miss his sight, whose breath touches my sleep? Never be afraid of the moments, thus sings the voice of the everlasting. I am willing to serve my country, but my worship I reserve for right which is far greater than my country. To worship my country as a god is to bring a curse upon it. The echo mocks her origin to prove she is the original. Today I feel that I shall win through. I have come to the gateway of the simple. I am now content to see things as they are. I have gained freedom myself. I shall allow freedom to others. In my work will be my salvation. That which is eternal within the moment only becomes shallow if spread out in time. If you shut your door to all errors, truth will be shut out. Let him only see the thorns who has eyes to see the rose. The smile that flickers on baby's lips when he sleeps, does anybody know where it was born? Yes, there is a rumor that a young pale beam of a crescent moon touched the edge of a vanishing autumn cloud, and there the smile was first born in the dream of a dew-washed morning. My heart, the bird of the wilderness, has found its sky in your eyes. The fountain of death makes the still water of life play. My debts are large, my failures great, my shame secret and heavy. Yet I come to ask for my good. I quake in fear lest my prayer be granted. Do not say, "It is morning," and dismiss it with a name of yesterday. See it for the first time as a newborn child that has no name. According to the Upanishads, the complete aspect of truth is in the reconciliation on the finite and the infinite, of ever-changing things and the eternal spirit of perfection. When in our life and work the harmony between these two is broken, then either our life is thinned into a shadow, or it becomes gross with accumulations. God, the great giver, can open the whole universe to our gaze in the narrow space of a single land. I touch God in my song as the hill touched the faraway sea with its waterfall. I thought that my invincible power would hold the world captive, leaving me in a freedom undisturbed. Thus night and day I worked at the chain with huge fires and cruel hard strokes. When at last the work was done and the links were complete and unbreakable, I found that it held me in its grip. The wise man warns me that life is but a dewdrop on the lotus leaf. He who wants to do good knocks at the gate. He who loves finds the gate open. The light of the stars travels millions of miles to reach the earth, but it cannot reach our hearts, so many millions of miles further off are we. The truth comes as conqueror only because we have lost the art of receiving it as guest. The idea of the nation is one of the most powerful anesthetics that man has invented. Under the influence of its fumes, the whole people can carry out its systematic program of the most virulent self-seeking without being in the least aware of its moral perversion, in fact feeling dangerously resentful if it is pointed out. What India has been, the whole world is now. The whole world is becoming one country through scientific facility. And the moment is arriving when you also must find a basis of unity which is not political. If India can offer to the world her solution, it will be a contribution to humanity. There is only one history, the history of man. All national histories are merely chapters in the larger one. Knowledge is partial, because our intellect is an instrument. It is only a part of us. It can give us information about things which can be divided and analyzed, and whose properties can be classified part by part. But Brahma is perfect, and knowledge which is partial can never be a knowledge of him. I saw, all of a sudden, an odd-looking bird making its way through the water to the opposite bank, followed by a great commotion. I found it was a domestic fowl which had managed to escape impending doom in the galley by jumping overboard and was now trying frantically to swim across. It had almost gained the bank when the clutches of its relentless pursuers closed on it, and it was brought back in triumph, gripped by the neck. I told the cook I would not have any meat for dinner. I really must give up animal food. We manage to swallow flesh only because we do not think of the cruel and sinful thing we do. There are many crimes which are the creation of man himself, the wrongfulness of which is put down to their divergence from habit, custom, or tradition. But cruelty is not of these. It is a fundamental sin, and admits of no argument or nice distinctions. If only we do not allow our heart to grow callous, its protest against cruelty is always clearly heard, and yet we go on perpetrating cruelties easily, merrily, all of us in fact. Anyone who does not join in is dubbed a crank. If, after our pity is aroused, we persist in throttling our feelings simply in order to join others in their preying upon life, we insult all that is good in us. I have decided to try a vegetarian diet. While God waits for his temple to be built of love, men bring stones. To Indians, the idea of the transmigration of the soul from animal to man, and man to animal, does not seem strange, and so from our scriptures pity for all sentient creatures has not been banished as a sentimental exaggeration. When I am in close touch with nature in the country, the Indian in me asserts itself, and I cannot remain coldly indifferent to the abounding joy of life throbbing within the soft down-covered breast of a single tiny bird. The fish in the water is silent. The animal on the earth is noisy. The bird in the air is singing. But man has in him the silence of the sea, the noise of the earth, and the music of the air. In this playhouse of infinite forms I have had my play, and here have I caught sight of him that is formless. A very important factor which is making it almost impossible for Hindu-Muslim unity to become an accomplished fact is that the Muslims cannot confine their patriotism to any one country. I had frankly asked the Muslims whether in the event of any Mohammedan power invading India, they Muslims would stand side by side with their Hindu neighbors to defend their common land. I was not satisfied with the reply I got from them. Even such a man as Mr. Muhammad Ali, one of the famous Ali brothers, the leaders of the Caliphate movement, the compiler, has declared that under no circumstances is it permissible for any Mohammedan, whatever be his country, to stand against any Mohammedan. When we rejoice in our fullness, then we can part with our fruits with joy. There are two religions in earth which have distinct enmity against all other religions. These two are Christianity and Islam. They are not just satisfied with observing their own religions, but are determined to destroy all other religions. That's why the only way to make peace with them is to embrace their religions. Ah me, why did they build my house by the road to the market town? We come nearest to the great when we are great in humility. Please is frail like a dewdrop, while it laughs it dies. But sorrow is strong and abiding. Let sorrowful love wake in your eyes. Time is the wealth of change, but the clock in its parity makes it mere change and no wealth. In India, the measure of a singer's freedom is in his own creative personality. He can sing the composer's song as his own, if he has the power creatively to assert himself in his interpretation of the general law of the melody which he is given to interpret. Reason tells us that creation never can be perfectly happy. So long as it is incomplete, it must put up with imperfection and sorrow. It can only be perfect when it ceases to be creation and is God. Do our prayers dare go so far? Let the dead have the immortality of fame, but the living the immortality of love. It sometimes strikes me how immensely fortunate I am that each day should take its place in my life, either reddened with the rising and setting sun, or refreshingly cool with deep, dark clouds, or blooming like a white flower in the moonlight. What untold wealth! Asks the possible to the impossible, where is your dwelling place? In the dreams of the impotent comes the answer. In the heart of Europe runs the purest stream of human love, of justice, of spirit of self-sacrifice for higher ideals. The Christian culture of centuries has sunk deep in her life's core. In Europe, we have seen noble minds who have ever stood up for the rights of man irrespective of color and creed. To be outspoken is easy when you do not wait to speak the complete truth. The world is ever new to me, like an old friend loved through this and former lives. The acquaintance between us is both long and deep. God finds himself by creating. To the guests that must go, bid God speed and brush away all traces of their steps. Life's errors cry for the merciful beauty that can modulate their isolation into a harmony with the whole. Every person is worthy of an infinite wealth of love. The beauty of his soul knows no limit. One of the many suppressed longings of creation which cry after fulfillment is for neglected joys within reach. While we are busy pursuing chimerical impossibilities, we famish our lives with emptiness left by easy joys. Untasked is ever growing in my life. And the day may come when I shall feel that, could I but have the past back, I would strive no more after the unattainable, but drain to the full these little, unsought, everyday joys which life offers. When old words die out on the tongue, new melodies break forth from the heart. And where the old tracks are lost, new country is revealed with its wonders. Night's darkness is a bag that bursts with the gold of the dawn. That I exist is a perpetual surprise which is life. In the world's audience hall, the simple blade of grass sits on the same carpet with the sunbeams and the stars of midnight. Praise shames me, for I secretly beg for it. Does not the voice come to us, through the din of war, the shrieks of hatred, the wailings of despair, through the churning up of the unspeakable filth which has been accumulating for ages in the bottom of this nationalism, the voice which cries to our soul that the tower of national selfishness, which goes by the name of patriotism, which has raised its banner of treason against heaven, must totter and fall with a crash, weighed down by its own bulk, its flag kissing the dust, its light extinguished. My brothers, when the red light of conflagration sends up its crackle of laughter to the stars, keep your faith upon those stars and not upon the fire of destruction. That which transcends country, which is greater than country, can only reveal itself through one's country. God has manifested his one eternal nature in just such a variety of forms. I can assure you that through the open sky of India you will be able to see the sun. Therefore, there is no need to cross the ocean and sit at the window of a Christian church. I have nothing more to say, answered Gore. Only this much I would add. You must understand that the Hindu religion takes in its lap, like a mother, people of different ideas and opinions. In other words, the Hindu religion looks upon man as man and does not count him as belonging to a particular party. It honors not only the wise but the foolish also, and it shows respect not merely to one form of wisdom but to wisdom in all its aspects. Christians do not want to acknowledge diversity. They say that on one side is Christian religion and on the other eternal destruction. And between these two there is no middle path. And because we have studied under these Christians, we have become ashamed of the variety that is there in Hinduism. We fail to see that through this diversity Hinduism is coming to realize the oneness of all. Unless we can free ourselves from this whirlpool of Christian teaching, we shall not become fit for the glorious truths of Hindu religion. When 2-3 different religions claim that only their own religions are true and all other religions are false, their religions are only ways to heaven. Conflicts cannot be avoided. Thus, fundamentalism tries to abolish all other religions. This is called Bolshevism in religion. Only the path shown by the Hinduism can relieve the world from this meanness. God seeks comrades and claims love. The devil seeks slaves and claims obedience. The child ever dwells in the mystery of ageless time, unobscured by the dust of history. Those who have everything but thee, my God, laugh at those who have nothing but thyself. Jewel like the immortal does not boast of its length of years, but of the scintillating point of the moment. All the great utterances of man have to be judged not by the letter, but by the spirit which unfolds itself with the growth of life in history. Melody and harmony are like lines and colors in pictures. A simple linear picture may be completely beautiful. The introduction of color may make it vague and insignificant. Yet color may, by combination with lines, create great pictures, so long as it does not smother and destroy their value. The terrible situation of the country makes my mind restless, and I cannot keep silent. Meaningless ritual keep the Hindus divided in 100 sects. We are suffering from series of defeats. We are tired and worn out by the fortunes by the internal external enemies. The Muslims are united in religion and rituals. The Bengali Muslims, the South Indian Muslims, and even the Muslims outside India all are united. They always stand untied in face of danger. The broken and divided Hindus will not be able to combat them. Days are coming when the Hindus will be again humiliated by the Muslims. You are a mother of children. One day you will die, passing the future of Hindu society on the weak shoulders of your children. But think about their future. Let this be my last word, that I trust in thy love. Life is given to us. We earn it by giving it. Light finds her treasure of colors through the antagonism of clouds. Whenever a Muslim called upon the Muslim society, he never faced any resistance. He called in the name of one God, Allahu Akbar. On the other hand, when we Hindus call, we'll call, come on, Hindus, who will respond? We, the Hindus, are divided in numerous small communities, many barriers, provincialism, who will respond overcoming all these obstacles. We suffered from many dangers, but we could never be united. When Mohammed Ghori brought the first blow from outside, the Hindus could not be united, even in those days of imminent danger. When the Muslims started to demolish the temples one after another, and to break the idols of gods and goddesses, the Hindus fought and died in small units, but they could not be united. It has been provided that we were killed in different stages due to discord. Weakness harbors sin. So, if the Muslims beat us and we, the Hindus, tolerate this without resistance, then we will know that it is made possible only by our weakness. For the sake of ourselves and our neighbor Muslims also, we have to discard our weakness. We can appeal to our neighbor Muslims. Please don't be cruel to us. No religion can be based on genocide, but this kind of appeal is nothing but the weeping of the weak person. When the low pressure is created in the air, storm comes spontaneously. Nobody can stop it for religion. Similarly, if weakness is cherished and be allowed to exist, torture comes automatically. Nobody can stop it. Possibly, the Hindus and the Muslims can make a fake friendship to each other for a while, but that cannot last forever. As long as you don't purify the soil, which grows only thorny shrubs, you cannot expect any fruit. The one without second is emptiness, the other one makes it true. I cannot but bring to your mind those days when the whole of Eastern Asia, from Burma to Japan, was united with India in the closest ties of friendship.